Welcome to the Theoly Podcast. Today is March 2nd, 2026, and we are on day 61 of reading through the Bible. So today the people of Israel begin to complain about their hardship, and the Lord hears everything they say. And his anger blazes against them, and so he sends fire to rage among them and destroys some of the people on the outskirts of the camp. So the people start screaming, asking Moses for help. So he prays to the Lord and the fire stopped. After that, of course, they remembered that place as the place of burning. Then the foreign rabble who were traveling with them, that's funny, that's how they explain it, the foreign rabble, start to crave the good things of Egypt. So they start talking and complaining about how they want meat. They talk about how they remember having so much fish to eat when they were in Egypt. They had all the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic that they ever wanted. But now they didn't have any appetites anymore. They were so tired of eating manna. It describes manna as looking like small coriander seeds that was pale yellow like gum resin. They would grind that into flour and boil it and then make it into flat cakes that tasted like pastries baked with olive oil. If you remember, the manna came down when the dew evaporated in the morning. They would go out and pick up the manna that was left. So Moses hears all the families in their doorways of their tents whining, and the Lord becomes extremely angry, and so does Moses. And Moses tells the Lord that he doesn't understand why God is treating him like this. He says that he is God's servant, and he feels like God is treating him harshly. He asks God to have mercy on him. He wonders what he did to deserve this burden of all of these people. He said, I didn't give birth to them. I didn't bring them into the world. Why do you tell me to carry them in my arms like a mother carries a nursing baby? How am I going to get them to the land that you swore to give their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meat for all of these people? Because they're all whining, saying that they want meat to eat. I can't carry these people by myself. The load is too heavy. If this is how you intend to treat me, just go ahead and kill me. Do me a favor and spare me from this misery. So then the Lord tells Moses to gather before him 70 men who are recognized as elders and leaders in Israel. So he's supposed to bring them all to the tabernacle and stand there with them. And God said that he will come down and talk to him. He says he will take some of the spirit that is upon Moses and put that spirit upon the other men so that they can bear the burden of the people along with Moses. So he won't have to carry it all alone. He tells Moses to tell the people to purify themselves because God is going to give them meat to eat tomorrow. You were whining and the Lord heard you when you cried, "Oh, for some meat. We were better off in Egypt." But now the Lord is going to give you meat and you have to eat it. It's not going to be for a couple days or even 10 or 20 days. You will eat it for a whole month until you gag and are sick of it. For you have rejected the Lord who is here among you, and you have whined to him, saying, "Why did we ever leave Egypt?" When Moses hears this, he responds to the Lord and says, there are 600,000 foot soldiers here with me, and yet you say that I'm going to give them meat for a whole month? Even if we butchered all of our flocks and herds, would that satisfy them? Or if we caught all the fish in the sea, that wouldn't be enough. So the Lord tells Moses, has my arm lost its power? Now you will see whether or not my word comes true. So Moses goes out and reports these words to all the people. He gathered the 70 elders and stationed them around the tabernacle. The Lord comes down in the cloud and spoke to Moses. Then he gave the 70 elders the same spirit that was upon Moses, and when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied. But this never happened again. 2 men, Eldad and Medad, had stayed behind in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but they had not gone out to the tabernacle, yet the Spirit of God rested on them as well. So they're back in the camp prophesying, and a young man runs up and reports to Moses that these 2 men are prophesying in the camp. Well, Joshua, the son of Nun, who had been Moses' assistant since he was a young boy, protested and tells Moses to go tell them to stop. But Moses replies and says, Are you jealous for my sake? I wish that all the Lord's people were prophets and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them all. So Moses isn't jealous at all. Then Moses returns to the camp with the elders of Israel. So now the Lord sends this wind that brought in quail from the sea, and it let them fall all around the camp. So for miles in every direction, the quail are flying 3 feet above the ground. So the people just go out and catch them. They caught quail all that day and throughout the night and all the next day too. So no one gathered less than 50 bushels of quail. They took the quail and they spread them all around the camp to dry. But while they were gorging themselves on the meat, while it was still in their mouths, the anger of the Lord blazed against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. So that place was called Graves of Gluttony, because there they buried the people who had craved meat from Egypt. From there, the Israelites traveled to Hazeroth, where they stayed for some time. While they were at Hazeroth, Miriam and Aaron, Moses' brother and sister, start criticizing Moses because he had married a Cushite woman. And then they start saying things like, why is God spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he spoken through us too? But the Lord hears them. And it has a little note that Moses was very humble. He was more humble than any other person on earth. So immediately, the Lord calls to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, and he says, come out to the tabernacle, all three of you. So they go out to the tabernacle, and the Lord descended in the pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. He calls to Aaron and Miriam, and they step forward. And the Lord says to them, now listen to what I say. If there were prophets among you, I, the Lord, would reveal myself in visions. I would speak to them in dreams, but not with my servant Moses. Of all my house, he is the one I trust. I speak to him face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. He sees the Lord as he is. So why were you not afraid to criticize my servant Moses? The Lord was very angry with them, and he departed. As the cloud moved from above the tabernacle, there stood Miriam, and her skin was white as snow from leprosy. When Aaron saw what had happened to her, he cried out to Moses, "Oh, my master, please don't punish us for this sin we have so foolishly committed. Don't let her be like a stillborn baby already decayed at birth." So Moses cries out to the Lord and begs him to please heal her. But the Lord says to Moses, if her father had done nothing more than spit in her face, wouldn't she be defiled for 7 days? So keep her outside the camp for 7 days, and after that she may be accepted back. So Miriam goes outside the camp for 7 days, and the people waited until she was brought back before they traveled again. Then they left Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. So now the Lord tells Moses to send men out to explore the land of Canaan, the land that he is giving to the Israelites. He wants him to send out one leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes. So Moses did as the Lord commands. He sends out 12 men, all tribal leaders of Israel, from their camp in the wilderness of Paran. So we had Shemua from the tribe of Reuben. We have Shaphat from the tribe of Simeon, Caleb from the tribe of Judah, Igal from the tribe of Issachar, Hoshea from the tribe of Ephraim, Palti from the tribe of Benjamin, Gadiel from the tribe of Zebulun, Gadi from the tribe of Manasseh, Amiel from the tribe of Dan, Sethur from the tribe of Asher, Nabi from the tribe of Naphtali, and Guel from the tribe of Gad. Moses gave all these men instructions as he sent them out that he wants them to go north through the Negev into the hill country. He wants them to see what the land is like, to find out whether the people living there are strong or weak, few or many. See what kind of land they live in, if it's good land or bad land. Do their towns have walls, or are they unprotected like open camps? Is the soil fertile or poor? Are there many trees? Do your best to bring back samples of the crops you see, because it happened to be in the season of harvesting the first grapes. So they went up and explored the land from the wilderness of Zin as far as Rehob near Lebo Hamath. Going north, they passed through the Negev and arrived at Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishi, and Talmai, all descendants of Anak, lived. The ancient town of Hebron was founded 70 years before the Egyptian city of Zon. When they came to the valley of Eshcol, they cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, so large that it took 2 men to carry it on a pole between them. They also brought back samples of the pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol, which means cluster, because of that cluster of grapes the Israelite men cut there. So after exploring this land for 40 days, the men returned to Moses and Aaron and the whole community of Israel at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They report what they had seen and showed them the fruit that they had taken from the land. And they said that they entered the land they sent them to explore, and it was indeed bountiful, the land flowing with milk and honey. Here is the kind of fruit it produces. But then they start talking about how powerful the people are that lived there, and their towns are large and fortified. They even saw giants there and the descendants of Anak. The Amalekites lived in the Negev, and the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites lived in the hill country. The Canaanites lived along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan Valley. Caleb stands up and tries to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. And he said, let's go. Let's go at once and take the land. We can certainly conquer it. But the other men who had explored the land with him disagreed. We can't go against them. They are stronger than we are. So they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. They say that the land they traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes there. They say the people they saw there were huge. They said they even saw giants and the descendants of Anak, and next to them they felt like grasshoppers, and they were sure that that's what they thought too. So this is so interesting. 3 times in today's reading, we have people who are working against what the Lord is trying to do by either fear-mongering or speaking out of jealousy. And it shows the power of the spoken word. We have at the beginning where the foreign rabble, so the foreigners that decided to travel with the Israelites when they left Egypt, are now turning against God and complaining about the food, saying how much better it was back in Egypt. And then we have Miriam and Aaron, who start criticizing Moses, I'm assuming out of jealousy. And of course, the Lord strikes that down. And then these 10 scouts who are afraid of what they saw instead of remembering the truth that God told them. Caleb is the one who says, no, we can go do this, because Caleb remembers that God has promised all the way back to their ancestors that this is the land he's going to give them. So Caleb remembers the truth that God said. But the other men are just spreading lies based out of fear, and they get all of the people backing them. And very honestly, it makes me think of social media today, especially right now with all of the unrest happening in our world. I see this. I see some people who think that they are doing right. However, all they're doing is spreading fear and strife and negativity, some even in the name of the Lord. But there is no spirit in it. They are not doing anything to further the kingdom of heaven. They're just spreading strife. So there's power in our words, and there's power in what we believe. Do we believe the things that God says, or are we going to be afraid of what we see or what we hear? Thanks for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.